Hello, everybody. Welcome to For the Fans coverage of Big Brother Canada 10. We are so close to the end, Kevin. We are so close. I don't know how it happened. And I have to say, I have loved the season. This is your first Big Brother Canada season. Kevin, initial thoughts. What have you thought?
So BB Can has been surprisingly good. I say surprisingly because I had never watched it before,
Yeah.
but I've enjoyed this season immensely. And I think in the couple weeks break between BB Can and BBUS, I would love to do a special podcast where I talk about some of the things that I've liked on this season that I would love to see in BBUS in the future. So, such as uh, the way the triple went down, and I wish there was a wheel in BBUS instead of like the balls. There's a couple things I would like to see in
Well,
BBUS, but
the
I'm
wheel
enjoying
is
this.
new. The wheel is
Okay,
new to this season, so that's not a common thing. But yeah, I don't know. I have to say that I have for a while now really enjoyed Big Brother Canada a lot more than BBUS, to the point that I didn't actually watch the last season of Big Brother US because I got bored, so
ooh,
I just turned it off. But to me, like I actually think the biggest difference is, well, two things. I think casting is really a big difference, which makes very little sense to me because Canada's a country of 38 million people and America's a country 10 times the size. So it doesn't make sense to me that there isn't the volume of people to actually get good casts. But
it's
yeah,
also weird because I think it has the same casting team. I think it's Robin Cass that casts both.
I don't know, maybe Canadian. Well, my next point really was it felt to me that to some extent, whether these players were making smart decisions or not, and we have seen a lot of really not smart decisions this season, they were willing to do things. Like, I'm not sure that there really were too many real floaters in this season. I like
So
I think you could argue maybe Helena and Summer were floaters, but
Helena was on floater.
even
Helena,
then like I don't think anybody, and I don't mean that they were actually floaters or not, because I don't believe Helena was a floater either. But I think that there is a perception of floatiness that people want to have in Big Brother US, which I'm not completely certain we had much of that in this season of Big Brother Canada.
I think one benefit is that since BB Can is in the springish,
Yeah.
winter springish, you have less people that just trying to hang out for the summer.
Hmm.
I think that I feel like that has something to do with it because if you think about BBUS, since it's in June, July, into August, and then sometimes into September, depending on the season, um, you have more people that are like just trying to have like a good summer vacation and just trying to stay in the house. So when they hear like this is the vote, this is the way it's going, this is what the HOH wants, they just want to try their best to not make any real moves till they get to jury. Whereas in this one, though they wanted to make it to jury, they were playing the whole time, which I really appreciated. I did not expect the amount of gameplay that has happened in this show, and I'm here for it. I like it.
So that's so interesting. Huh. Because, like, could it be as simple as the weather? Like, because the truth is, like, maybe you go out to California. Those are the people that are living in Montana, living in New York City, living in Maine, and it's like, holy crap, it's beautiful weather. I just want to sit back here and chill. Whereas,
Yeah,
this starting in, I think it started in March. Yeah, I think it
yeah,
started in March. Like, it was still winter here.
yeah,
Like their backyard isn't really a backyard. Their real outside is like a really small space with a hot tub that they couldn't use most of the time because it was too cold.
yeah.
Huh, that's so interesting.
Because when you're on that CBS backlot and just hanging out,
Yeah.
and like you're literally just hanging out, it's a nice summer break from like your normal monotonous life, and it breaks up the normal routine. And it's the summer, so you're just hanging out. I think that has some things to do with it. In all honesty,
Wouldn't that suggest then that the celebrity seasons should be crazier?
so celebrity seasons are crazier because of the fact that they don't really have people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And they're there for
I didn't
literally
like.
there for a check.
I got bored of this last Celebrity season too, and I
Well,
stopped watching.
the hard part with this past celebrity season was Misha was such a dominant. Spoilers if you haven't watched, I guess, or you want to watch.
I watched
Misha,
the first week, and then I watched the last episode.
Misha Tate was a dominant physical presence, and Todrick was a strong strategic presence with a bunch of people that didn't know what was going on. So that's what Celebrity's tough. I didn't love Celebrity. I'm liking this a lot better than Celebrity. Like a lot better. And I think I don't know that I do like Kylie and go back and watch all the seasons, but I definitely see myself watching going forward.
Yeah. Awesome.
This one thing I do want to say is that normally at this point I would have stopped watching, especially after that triple. But because we're doing the show, I'm still here. But I'm not very happy that all my people are gone.
Well, okay. Well, let's talk about this. Let's get into the material. I think we actually, as you said, we should have a show dedicated to BBUS versus BB Can. Maybe we could get somebody with BB Australia background as well.
Yeah.
Thing. Because I'd love to. It's a fascinating conversation because at the base, it's exactly the same game, but it's exactly not the same game in reality.
Yeah.
So it'll be really interesting to dive into that. So we have a final five. We had a triple eviction. Gino went home. Marty went home. Petty Summer went home. We have our final five of Betty, Josh, Kevin, Helena, JC Lynn. I would never have guessed this would be the final five. And I am not upset with it at all.
The people that I'm surprised to see here are Betty, Kevin, and JC Lynn.
How come?
So, and not from how the game is shaken out. Like, that's not what I mean. But preseason, I thought Kevin was not going to be long for this game. I thought they were going to catch on to his villainry, if you will. Villainy early.
Well, both works.
Yeah. I figured they would catch that on early. They didn't, because he did a very good job of pretending to be the wounded lamb when in reality he was a lion all along, which was genius. Yep. JC Lynn's interesting because she has played exactly how I stated she would play in the beginning of the game. I called this. It's such an interesting thing to me because I feel like I did call this one to a T. Because I said she's going to be a strong strategic force until she finds Gino, and then she's going to be a lapdog for her boyfriend until he's gone, and then she's going to realize, oh, that's right, I'm strong. I'm a strong strategic force. And that's what she kind of has been.
Well, was she strategic at the start, or was she just trying to figure things out?
She was trying to figure things out, but I'm saying I thought she was going in, I thought she was going to be like a strategic person. I think she got her boyfriend from like day 4.
But here's the thing. Like, I actually think strategically, and maybe it wasn't planned this way, Gino was the smartest thing she could have done in this game.
I'm sure it wasn't planned this way.
I'm sure it wasn't either.
Yeah.
But
I think it helped protect her.
Shield.
Yep, help protect her.
Especially since he started showing his cards as actually being quite intelligent in there too.
Partially. There's a few times that Gino had good reads, but there was quite a few times where he was completely off base and like what was going on. And so, but he didn't have to be like, he's pretty and he was good at competitions. He didn't really have to do much. So there was that. And then Betty, I did not at the beginning of the season, I thought Betty could be a good player, but I wasn't positive. So, and she's really showing out. She can get the job done.
Listen, here's the thing about these 5. I don't see a sweep. No matter what the final 2 is, I don't think it's going to be a clean sweep. I think with the right person, Betty could actually win this thing too.
Yeah.
So I think I don't think it's a clear win. I think Kevin and Josh might have a little bit of an upper edge, but I don't know. It's going to be a super easy clean sweep.
And that's unfair, right? Isn't it? I mean, if Helena's sitting next to Josh, there's no reason Josh should beat Helena.
Why?
Because I feel like Helena has played a better game.
But Josh won things. Well, she did too, actually. Now that I think
She did
about
too. Like challenge wins don't matter.
it.
I mean, look at Kevin and Talina have never been HOH, and they have controlled the last
No, but
five HOHs.
Helena won some important. Helena and Kevin won 3 POVs that were probably quite important to the outcome of the game. And
Okay,
then
let's run through it real fast. So the HOH that Tanisha goes home, Kevin controls.
Yeah.
Kevin and Helena control. The HOH that Jess goes home, Kevin and
they've
Helena
controlled every single HOH since they tried to get Gino out that one round and they couldn't.
Yeah, so Tanisha,
Josh said no.
They sent home Tanisha, Jess. It was a double, right? So Tanisha, Jess, who was in Tanisha, Jess,
Moose,
Herman, Summer, Marty, and Gino. They have sent home 7 people.
They have. They truly
together.
Have.
So if Helena was to be sitting next to Josh in a final 2, it's just insane to me that Josh would get credit for these moves when in reality these were Kevin and Helena together moves. If Kevin's sitting next to Helena, Kevin wins. But if Helena's sitting next to Josh, I feel like the move should be attributed to her.
So yes, and I actually think for Helena's game, Kevin better be in there selling her game and telling them what she did, because the truth is, from what we saw, and we're going to fast forward a bit right now, but JC Lynn confronted Helena at some point, and basically said, hold on, like, you are a liar. Kevin didn't lie. Kevin's okay. You're good, Kevin. But you, Helena, you are the liar.
I really want to get into that conversation. Let's get going. Let's get going in here, and let's wrap up with talking about these players, because I want to talk about that conversation a lot.
So let's talk. So let me just give you a quick overview of my thoughts on the final 5. You said that you were surprised JC Lynn was here. She's the one I'm not surprised. I thought that Josh and JC Lynn would be in the top 5. I thought JC Lynn would be in the top 5 because of what you said about the JC Lynn Gino relationship, and that somebody would cut Gino, which would leave JC Lynn. I am not surprised about Josh, because Josh is the perfect doctor. Like, he is the person that you want to come and take care of you. Like he is, and is quite bright, but doesn't really show it and doesn't have this aura of superior. Like Josh's personality, I think, is perfect for this game. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk a little bit about this tonight as well, but Josh has taken, in my opinion, a little bit command of this game. And although his heart was always saying do this or do that, I think that he's very clear, very decisive. Now, was he clear and decisive on behalf of Helena and Kevin? We're going to talk about that tonight, because that might just be the truth. So after the Gino eviction, and I love how BB Cam goes back and tries to fill in all the details.
I want to say this, Sheldon.
Yeah.
The watching these guys really show what happened in these doubles and these triples is chef's kiss. It's so amazing. This is something that you asked me how I felt about this game versus BBUS. This is one thing that I don't feel like BBUS has figured out to master what happened during those live evictions properly, because watching everything that went on, it's so good. It's so good.
It's so good because you watch they have months in that house. And the truth is, 99% of that time is boring ass time. And it's these crazy moments where they have like a second to get dressed for a competition. They probably have 15 minutes or 20 minutes in total, but they have no time to think. Watching Betty try to maneuver and run around the place was brilliant. Watching Kevin even just warm up for a competition was
running back and forth.
But you actually see who these people are in a moment of stress, and that's when you see humans. And I love that. So, like, we saw a lot of interesting things. Gino left. JC Lynn was really in shock, really crying. Couldn't believe that Kevin and Helena flipped. They did not keep their words. I think she forgot she was playing Big Brother, but hey, that's okay. We see another really weird thing, how they were all in a lineup to go to the bathroom. It's so funny. They only have one bathroom to use, which I think is crazy in general. For what was it, 16 people, one bathroom? Well, this is
There's
nuts.
two bathrooms. There's two bathrooms.
Yeah,
The one in the
they
HOH room.
probably locked it up, but they're all in this lineup for this bathroom. And Marty says, there's so many players in this game that are so good, very good on you. I didn't see this coming. And JL then confronts Marty, says, "Oh, you saw this coming.
You planned this.
You planned it." And Marty says, "No, it was not me. And then it was the gummy bears." She says, "Yeah, it was the gummy bears." Okay, and then she walks. I love the raw emotion in these moments.
So this is the second time we've seen Jace get blindsided, right? This is the second time Jace has been blindsided by Marty. Yes, and after the first time it happened, she goes to Kyle and it's like, "Kyle, you're playing me like a fool here. You set this up to screw me." And I appreciate that by her, that she's like, both times, that time and this time, this is to make me look like a fool, isn't it? This was to screw me over, because I like that awareness she has that this was all an elaborate plan and a hoax on her. And then they're like, "No, man, I have no idea what you're talking about." Both times.
Do you think JC Lynn, no matter what happens in the rest of this game, do you think if she comes back for an All-Star season, she kills it?
Yes.
Because I think that she is that good of a player.
Yes.
But I don't fully believe she has gone with her gut the entire game.
Not at all.
She was sort of letting Gino do things, and I think she is smart as heck, and her gut every single time was right, every single time. So I don't know. I'd love to see her again.
She be more like I don't know if you remember BB say 17 with Shelly and Clay.
Yes, the blonde.
Yeah. Shelly was the one in control in that showmance. She needed to be the one in control in this one, because she makes better decisions, but she took a back seat and let G kind of drive. But it should have been her. Let him win the challenges.
After all of this emotions, we see the HOH competition. We went through all the competitions in our last episode, so we'll just go to the winner. Josh won this competition. I loved watching that competition because Josh knew every single answer. It was like he studied for that exam. He knew exactly. There was not even a second of thought. A, B, done. Mm-hmm. He won it decisively. Jacelyn was on his tail. She knew she needed to win or she'd be going up. And you go to the nomination and you absolutely see Jacelyn, Marty, and Summer. We see in the diary room Josh talk about why he put them up. Well, he says Betty is his ride or die. He also says he's in an alliance with Kevin and with Helena. So it just makes perfect sense to put them up. And you see Summer get really, really upset.
As she should.
100% she should. I don't think her reaction was the best, but I think she should absolutely get upset.
I want to talk about that because I was in these BB Twitter streets, and people coming for Summer Sales because they felt like she didn't have the best emotional reaction to, first off, being blindsided by someone you thought you were working with, and that you just saved him moments before. And as she says to him in the Expedia room, "I asked you, Joshua, would you put me up?" And you said no. She doesn't know that he's working with Kevin and Helena. Like, as far as they're concerned, Kevin and Helena, they had to convince to save him. So
but so my problem with her emotional, she's obviously emotional, 100%. You're in a pressure cooker. My problem with her reaction wasn't her emotions. It was that she didn't take her emotions and try to make a cake out of them. And what I mean by that is, instead of saying, "Josh, why did you put me up? I told you this. You lied to me. You lied to me. You lied to me." She should have said, "You did this. I know this is a strategic move. I'm not going to go against you. I need to figure out how to push forward, how to move on from this," as opposed to actually going in and trying to go in for the kill.
Take a second to think about it, right? it doesn't seem like a strategic move because she doesn't know he's working with Kevin and Helena. It seems like a very personal move because they're not with us. It's me, you, and Betty.
But
That's how it is.
That's a bad read.
Obviously. It's a terrible read. Terrible read. Terrible read. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that she is the best player. I'm saying that from the way that the week played out, it was them trying to convince Kevin and Helena to flip to save Josh as far as they were concerned. So it was the three of them. So Summer would be super safe in her mind. So here she is getting put on the block as a third person. And she's like, how are you not putting up Helena or Kevin here when they're not with us? It's supposed to be me, you, and Betty. And so she doesn't see it as a strategic move. She's like, why did you lie to me? And then that's why immediately you see Betty go and say, because the next thing is Betty goes and pulls Josh aside and says, why Summer? What's going on? Why? Because for her as well, she thinks it's the three of us. So why are you putting up Summer?
So it's so interesting because is that some poor gameplay by Josh then? Is that Josh's inability to calm? Because like his argument to Summer was everybody loves you, you're not going to go home. Right? But he didn't prepare any of it.
It was weak.
Like, I don't know if there's a way to prepare it.
There wasn't a way because she asked she didn't even, like she says to him, you didn't even have to campaign. I asked you, would you put me up? And you said no. And that was enough for me. And here I am. I'm now on the block by your hand. Like that's a lot for someone to have to deal with. And we're talking about in a triple, right? She doesn't have time to like really compartmentalize what's going on.
No. You're right. You're right. And that's, I just don't. I also sort of did not like her argument of now I can't focus on the veto because I'm emotional. Like, because I was like, I like you're a player in this game. Like, I don't know.
Sheldon, me and you are much different thinkers in these games, right? Then like Summer is a very much like you see all the personality and the sass you get in the diary rooms. She's all personality and sass. That's who she is as a person. So when she has now been blindsided and she has 15 minutes to get herself together to get this to figure this out, she is shocked because she did not for a second foresee herself going up there on the block. That was never a thought in her nor Betty's mind. I mean, Josh even had to make up the fact that Summer didn't have their best interests at heart to tell Betty because Betty doesn't understand what's going on.
So what was interesting is we see a quick conversation between Helena and Josh as well, right before the Josh and Summer confrontation, where basically Josh is obviously emotional, which he was. It was hard for him. It was obvious. It was all a hard thing. He in his mind was making strategic choices, even though his heart was saying, "Don't hurt Summer, don't hurt Betty, don't hurt anybody." But basically they say they got to win. They got to win this power of veto. Because what's going to happen is JC, Lynn, and Marty go, and Summer stays.
Yeah.
Was that the real plan? Is that what Helena and Kevin were actually going to do?
Yes.
Why is it in their best interest to keep Summer around?
Because Summer is now mad at Josh for putting her up. Summer trusts Kevin and is very close to Kevin. Summer also has not won anything. So the likelihood of Summer winning a competition is slim. JC Lynn, they've just betrayed JC Lynn and stabbed her in the heart. Yeah. They obviously do not need Martin around. Martin needs to go at this point. He cannot trust them anymore, and he is too dangerous to win competitions. The real plan was to send. They chose the path that they were going to take, and they now had Summer pointed directly at Josh for putting her up. It made the most. That was the plan. That had to be the plan because it makes the most logical sense.
Well, while Summer was saying, "My guy," I thought there was an interesting thing. She said, "You are putting me at risk, my guy." Even in that moment, you're my guy. I thought that was such an interesting. I don't know if that's just a term that her culturally.
It's just a term. The cultural term. It's a cultural term.
I was like, oh my God, she really loves him even after he put her up.
Even when it's like when you say dude. It's like when you
Okay,
say
my
dude,
guy.
it's my guy. Like you've put me at risk, my guy. You've put me in a situation and that I can't get out of, my guy. Like I cannot believe you. I don't even want to say your name right now. I'm so upset with you, my guy. I don't know what else to say because
My guy.
you need to understand what is because you obviously don't get what's going on, my guy. You obviously don't get it. So let
My
me
guy.
explain because she's
Because
so
you're not my
angry.
guy.
Yes.
I was not your gal.
Yeah,
So while there's a big fight going on there, you see Jason and Helena and Kevin running around trying to get, I guess, his heart rate up. And Jason Lynn obviously upset after Gino left. Obviously upset after being put up on the block. Jason Lynn says, "You are liars. You make me sick." Helena says, "Right back at you."
Yeah.
What, Helena? Where have you been? And JL says, it was the best. JL says, "This is twisted. Helena, you have so many number ones. Your word means nothing. Nothing. You don't give me respect, Helena." And Helena finally comes out of herself and says, "Respect? The way you talk down to me? Shut the fuck up and don't talk to me."
Listen. When
I love this.
JC, this is the part I didn't understand, Sheldon. She says to to Helena, you told me we were number ones. Is this how you treat your like number one? Girl, you had a number one in Gino. Like Helena was never your number one. So how are you mad at her for she has multiple number ones. Like it couldn't have been you because you weren't really with her. As long as Gino's here, she doesn't really have you. Like she doesn't.
100%.
So,
it didn't make any sense. My favorite part about this conversation is there could be a world. Yes, that's how you say it, where Kevin would hear that and say, she has a lot of number ones with so many other people. I'm not her number one, but he didn't. He like it was all okay. He's like, yeah, of course she has number ones. I would have done. I do the same thing.
Well, not even that.
I loved it.
He knows that he's her number one, right? Like he like she's saying like Jason Lynn's like, you have so many number ones. Kevin's like, yeah, man, she's made fake deals with everybody. Like this is a thing we've all done. But like I know because of how we just voted and how we've been voting the whole way and how the ghosts have been working that she's mine and I'm hers and that's it.
It's really romantic. I have to say, I've been saying this time and time again, but I always forget how pretty Helena is.
Gorgeous.
I don't know why. Like I feel like a dick actually. But every time I see her on camera, I'm like, I always forget how pretty you are.
Yeah.
She's awesome. I love Helena. The more we get of Helena, the more I love her. Every second. She's awesome.
When we had the Lucas up in here, he did not like Helena, and I said she's been playing this whole time. I've been rooting for Helena. I said from the beginning Helena was going to win this game, right? And she's playing such a good game, but on top of that, she's gorgeous, she's smart, and she can come back. She can dish it as well as she could take it. So in this conversation, JC Lynn is coming for her, and she's like, "You talking about respect? You have to like give respect. You haven't given me any respect. So why would I give you respect?" And another thing, the respect that JC Lynn's talking about is to be given a heads up that Gino was going home. Why would she do that if she was blindsiding you? It doesn't make sense.
But yeah, again, Summer was emotional. JC Lynn was emotional. There were so many emotions. Kevin was emotional because he was running around too much. Helena was emotional because she's like really chill and she's like, right back at you. Love every second of it. We go to the power of veto. Surprise, 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 surprise. As Jason Lynn always does in a clutch moment, she wins. And
JC Lynn is a physical threat.
She's amazing.
And she's good. She's so good.
She's an athlete. Like this is she becomes Connor McDavid. She becomes LeBron James in the moment when she needs to win. She wins every single time. She is so dangerous. I love it.
Yes.
obviously, we see some great stuff where JC Lynn wins the POV. And we see a really quick scene where Josh, Helena, and Kevin are right there. Actually, no, we first see JC Lynn say she's voting Summer to stay for Summer to stay. No matter what.
So one thing, did you notice how mad Summer is? She is so mad in that moment because now she knows that she's probably going to go at this point, right? She knows that she's probably going to go because Josh told her that you're so likable, you're going to be fine. He didn't want to put up Helena and Kevin to begin with. So even if he puts up Helena or Kevin now, JC Lynn's going to vote to evict Helena / Kevin. The other one will vote to save that one. It's going to be up to Josh to make it this. Oh, Betty, and then Betty's going to vote to save Summer.
Exactly.
More than likely. So she's like, I'm either going to be sticking around barely or I'm in trouble.
Yep. And the other part here, we're going to go through all this back and forth and we're going to see Betty running around and getting terrified. Marty does nothing. He rolls over and he dies that night. Completely.
It was so crazy. I think. Well, we were talking about emotions. He also had an emotional reaction, right?
Completely. Because he was in
shock the whole night. The Gino blindside threw him off.
Completely.
Which is also so funny for two of the double and the triple to happen after these people were just the HOHs were not in the right place to have these done to them. Because they happened to both. And they just didn't know what to do once it happened. And so Martin was in no position. Like, Martin needed the week to try to get out of a sticky situation.
I think what happened was, however strange it is, Marty did this 4 times to Gino, and he still loves Gino, and he didn't, and he wanted to go to the end with Gino. And so I honestly think it hit him at that moment. I did this to my best friend.
Yeah.
And the night was done. There was no fight. He wouldn't have won the competition. He couldn't focus on the competition. Forget Summer can't focus. This man can't focus at all. He kind of looked like a sad dog that it was over. I felt bad.
And he knew there was no way for him to try to convince anyone to keep him either. There was no. He put up Josh and Betty 3 different times. Kevin and Helena have just turned on him. Summer's on the block next to him and she hates him. And JC Lynn's his best bet. And she thinks that he masterminded the demise of her boyfriend.
Yep.
There's nothing you could do.
Sticky situation. So we see it looked like almost a 10-second conversation between Josh, Helena, and Kevin, where Josh goes into that pantry where Kevin and Helena were and basically says, keep Betty, and he walks the hell out. Stealth mode. And they all seem to agree with it, and it was done.
Well, even better than that is that right before that, Kevin and Helena have a real brief conversation we get where they're like, do we want to flip it on Josh and save Summer? Or do we want to because they already know they're not going up, right? Yes. Like, that's so crazy. They're like, do we want to flip it on him? And then Kevin says to Helena, let's just do whatever he wants. Let's do whatever he wants. So they ask him, he comes in, says, save Betty. Sounds good. We'll do that. Because though Summer's better for their game, Betty's not bad for their game.
No. So you then see jumping and dancing and excitement between Betty and Josh. Why? Because they're gonna get Marty out. They're gonna get Marty out. And then what happens? I'm gonna put you up, Betty. And it was the strangest, awkwardest. She's obviously shocked. He says, don't worry. Kevin and Helena, they're gonna save you. And Summer, she's not in the best interest. That week, I have to convince her to save you. Summer needs to go. You're going up. Kevin and Helena will save you. You're good. She's sad. She's terrified, obviously. She's shocked, obviously, and she runs. She runs to Kevin and Helena.
So this is such an insane moment, Sheldon.
It is.
It's so insane because, like you said, they're jumping up because she's like, listen, we were trying to get 2. But we got 1, though. You got Martin. Yep. You got Marty, Josh. Yep. The guy that's been coming for us, you got him. And they're like so happy. And she's like, okay, so in order to save Summer, I mean, we're going to probably lose Helena. It sucks. And then he's like, but we're not going to lose Helena because I'm not putting up Kevin.
Nope.
And then she's like, well, that only leaves me or Helena. You're not putting me up though, right? I am.
Yeah.
I am. No, Josh. No. What? No. What? What? And he's like, you're gonna say you have the votes. What do you mean? What do you like? What do you mean? Like, as we were just talking about with Summer, Josh has made such strong personal bonds with these people that both of these moves are 100% personal as far as they're concerned.
But
100% personal.
But this is where I completely agree with that analysis, except I think the reaction that Betty had was go fight, go work. And the reaction that Summer had was roll over.
They're different people. Like they definitely
100%
handle the things differently, but they definitely take it differently, right? Because Summer said the same thing to Gino, is that you put me at risk to go home. Whereas Betty's like, because Betty had the assurance that she was going to be okay. Yeah. And that's where the difference is that they're not having to fight for their lives. It's a pretty solid assurance that they feel, that Betty feels in this moment, because she doesn't like this at all. Doesn't like this at all.
Who the heck would?
Yeah. It was not how they thought it was going to go, but it's just so crazy.
We then see Betty literally running around. She goes to the Expedia room. Kevin and Helena aren't there. She goes to another room, finds them. She's making her rounds around the house, and they basically say, yeah, we're saving you. We're okay. And then she says, okay, I got you. Josh is okay. JL, I got to go on JL. On her way to JL, we see Josh being really emotional and sad, and Kevin asks him if he wants a cookie to make him feel better.
He said, can I get you anything? Coffee, tea, cookie? Maybe a cookie. Maybe a cookie.
And then Betty and JL, you see this quick conversation where Betty's begging Jason Lynn to save her, and they're both just completely and totally confused, like, what the heck is going on? JL just says, but what? I just told Summer I'm going to save her, and you're going up. But I said that because I thought Kevin and Helena would be on the block. What is going on here? I got to go talk with Josh. This, by the way, you're so right. This stuff that we're seeing in this recap is such gold. Like, this is the best. The best. You see, Josh and JL basically say, Josh says that Summer's not good for Betty's game because it's exactly the same argument that he gave Betty, that Summer wasn't going to save Betty that round. And then JL really tries to push back a bit. And she says, we need to get out the snakes. We need to get out Kevin and Helena. They are liars. Why would you put Betty on that position? And then again, she is so smart because she's using both logic and emotion. These people are liars, and they're going to backstab you just like they just backstabbed me and Gino. And emotions. This is your best friend. You're going to get rid of your best. You're going to put up your best friend? What the heck are you thinking? And very calmly, although quite emotionally, Josh says, it is better for my game for Summer to go than Helena. And JL says, it pains me so much to think that Kevin and Helena are going to stay here.
Well, yeah.
These interactions were everything.
She is so mad at them.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, but mind you, her boyfriend went home an hour ago.
Absolutely.
An hour and a half ago. So
just like Marty's boyfriend also went home an hour and a half ago on his own HOH.
Yes. And so she is just so angry with Kevin and Helena and hates them in this moment, just hates them so much. I mean, we forgot. We one moment I want to touch on that we didn't talk about at the top of the hour is that Gino goes home and she goes into the pantry by herself, Jessie Lynn, and she's crying a lot. And she's saying, I hate everyone in here because she is so broken up about what happened.
She's alone also.
Yes.
First time in the game, she's alone. Nobody would be okay with that.
And so she is talking to Josh, and Josh is like, we're going to save your arch nemesis. And she's like, how? They've betrayed me tonight, and you are going to let them stay? And so that was an insane reaction from her. What else is she supposed to feel? And then on top of that, Betty comes in there, and then Betty says to Josh, I just don't understand this. Explain this to me. He's like, you're gonna stay. And then immediately Betty says, are you working with them? And he's like, no. And she says, oh my God, how did I miss this? You are working with them. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm in trouble, because she now realizes that she's also alone. Well, just like JC Lynn.
Very interesting stuff, actually. We're about to get into that. So we do see another conversation where Kev, Josh, Helena, and Betty are in the Expedia room again.
Yeah.
And sorry, Summer was there. Summer says, I would have never done this to you. Was this your plan from the start?
So Sheldon, hold on. This conversation is Summer. She's much more controlled in this conversation. And that's why I was really upset with people on the internet, because Summer was, when we saw her approach Josh and Betty in the Expedia room in that clip from last week,
that was reaction.
It was her height of emotion, the height of her emotion. And people were like, I don't like the way Summer's behaving. It's a game.
So I was one of those people, although I don't use Twitter, so it wasn't on Twitter. But I didn't like Summer's stuff on the way out. This is not the last time you're going to see me on TV. I'm going to make a movie. I don't like that stuff. That to me is weird. I don't know. You're in Canada. You're not going to make it, lady. I'm so sorry.
I think this isn't the last time you're going to see Summer on TV.
I think this is the last time we're going to see Summer on TV.
I strongly disagree. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. So we see this little thing going on, and you see Summer making an emotional plea to Josh, which I think was the only move she had at this point, and probably the smartest move, because he was so vulnerable. He was so emotional. He hated doing it. And Summer literally says, I am very hurt by this. You see, and as you said, Summer walks out after she says this. You see Josh being really emotional and sad again. And Betty looks at him and says, as you said before, Kevin, are you working with Helena and Kevin? And he says, no. Betty is safe. And Marty and Helena go home. Again, Betty goes and asks Kevin and Helena, if they were all working together. They both keep on lying, saying, no, we're not working together. And then we see another one of my favorite scenes. Helena in the diary room says, Josh, oops, I think you might have just ruined your own game. Oops.
Well, fast forward a few minutes later, they're sitting there talking, and Josh says, was that good for my game?
Exactly. And was it good for his game?
No.
From his perspective, he was being loyal.
Yes.
But was it good for him in the long term? Absolutely not. He completely misread Kevin and Helena's tightness and the fact that they're going to get rid of him and they're playing a better game than him.
Yeah.
So it sucks. But I still like Josh. I think he's awesome.
No, I do too.
With the information that he had, he was just loyal.
Kevin and Helena have been playing this game a lot longer than Josh has.
So, any thoughts about all this crazy triple before we get to our next HOH?
It was amazing. I'm so sorry to see Summer go. Summer has been a light to this game. She's been super fun the whole time. And she was not the best game player, no, but she was probably the most likable person in that house the whole time. And then next would be Josh. I am happy to see Martin go. I don't care about him. I'm very happy to not see him again. And the reasons I didn't like Marty is because of his wishy-washiness and his Summer never tried to play, right? She was not trying to pretend like she was a mastermind game player. She was throwing comps on purpose, which I think is a good strategy, but she was throwing comps on purpose. She was trying to do her best to just be fun times, good people. Martin was trying to play the game, and he was just having misread after misread. And that was just, and he's sending out people that I was like really big fans of.
Yeah, I don't know. I loved Summer probably 3/4 of her time in that house. And I get very turned off by petty people. And I thought that I wouldn't like Summer after the first episode when she said she's going to be petty. And then I didn't see any pettiness. I just saw like a happy-go-lucky, lovely, smart, bright, great girl. And then I saw a little bit of pettiness come out. I'm like, oh, I don't like this. I used to like you so much more. So she waned on me a little bit. She was a lot of entertainment. I don't think, as you said, Canada's a very small market. The idea that she's going to get any success, will she be back for an All-Stars? Maybe. Was she
Oh no, I think I could definitely see Summer as like the host of something.
Kevin, this is Canada. This is not America.
Isn't like Ika on a bunch of stuff?
No. Like she's lucky she has Big Brother stuff to do, but no.
I feel like she was on stuff like right after her season.
She was
like
on Entertainment Tonight, Canada.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then got fired or something, or left, or was like no.
I can see
this is a very different market, Kevin. This isn't Andrea Buckley, whatever.
Belky, Andrea Belky.
Like it's very hard to actually make a career out of this. I hope Summer does if that's what she wants to do, but it's a very different market.
We shall see.
I wish her the best because she
I love her.
Fun, happy-go-lucky Summer is fantastic. She's a lot of fun. I'm in it for the game players. I love watching.
I love game players too. How do you feel about Marty? What's your feelings on Marty? What's your assessment?
I love that he was actually on the season because of the lunacy of his gameplay, and that's really it. Like I didn't love. Do I like him as a person? I don't know. Average Joe, average guy. I don't know. I never felt emotionally connected to him, but he was fun to watch. And actually say, what the hell are you doing, man? Like, what's going on in that brain of yours?
What's going on, man? Yeah.
So, by the way, sort of similar to Jess, because would I ever be friends with Jess? No, probably not. But watching some of the stuff they did was sort of like, okay, I'd like to watch more of this. So we see an HOH comp, and the aforementioned Ika was there, and I think Kevin got excited when he saw Ika.
I liked Ika. Kevin liked Ika. Betty liked Ika.
Everybody liked Ika.
Everybody loves Ika.
So not only do we get Ika, we get to see some of the crazy shredding she did in season 2, which Kevin, I don't know if you've seen that before. What did you think?
I saw it on the internet, and those people were so mad in that house. So mad. But from what it sounded like, they were going to be sending her home that week anyway. So you girl, get that check, take that check, and F those people, man. Seriously. They were sending you home anyway. They're like, if she shreds the check, they still send her home. So,
yep. It was awesome. We did see a little bit of a Zingbot Ika moment where she came in and she decided to roast them, talking about Josh crying all season about slop. JL should have probably focused more on winning HOH as opposed to kissing Gino. Betty, spending so much time on the block. Maybe you could survive this too. Nothing to Kevin, sadly. Or nothing.
So I'm sure Kevin and Helena also got a zing, but we didn't
probably not good zings.
Yeah, probably nothing crazy.
But I wonder though if partially maybe she gave stuff away. Probably not. I don't know.
No.
It was a little strange to me that we didn't see it because I was like, give me some Kevin stuff.
It was written for her. So.
And obviously, surprise, not very obviously, I should say. Kevin, who wins HOH for the first time?
Betty. Petty Business B.
Business B. Business B wins.
The new HOH.
I was so happy about this, in truth. She deserved it. It was time. And it's certainly time for her to shine. Is she the first woman to win HOH this season?
Yes.
Is that nuts?
Well, yes. First woman, because Jess is non-binary. Yeah.
But no, it's been Marty Gino, Herman. Like it's been like this is crazy that we're at the final 5 and we finally see a woman win. Yeah. That is a little bit shocking to me. It's actually abnormal for BB Can or BBUS, I should say as well. It's not normal. We see a quick scene where Betty is really annoyed at Josh. this is her in a room by herself. She feels expendable. She basically, as you said before, I'm in this by myself. I was so loyal to you. Wow. I'm in this by myself.
Mm-hmm.
How alone did Betty feel?
So, one thing we didn't see and they didn't show on the show because there's no reason to, but on the feeds a few days ago, maybe a week or two ago, Betty asked Josh to be in her wedding.
What?
Yeah. Because she knows she's getting married to Ian. Her and Ian are engaged.
Mazel tov.
But she asked Josh, could he be in her wedding? Because
As
they've
what?
grown that close. One of her bridesmen.
Oh, that's a new word. Never heard that before. Bridesman?
I mean, like a bridesmaid, but as a bridesman, I mean, that's what I assume.
Why is it a maid? Like they don't have to clean
know.
it.
Right? And why are they groomsmen? Who knows? Anyway, it was she asked him to be in her wedding though. So she was feeling that close to him. Then for him to then betray her, every decision she's made has been for the sake of the two of them. Everything she's done has been for the two of them. When they were on the block together earlier in the season, she told him that she was going to sacrifice her game for him. Now she's alone. Business B is all alone.
Business B is alone. But is Business B all alone? Because Business B should see that JC Lynn is all alone too.
But JC Lynn has been trying to get her out, as well as the fact that JC Lynn, as she says, has no relationship with Betty. She has not attempted to. Well, so what? We're 15 days from the end of the game. Exactly. They have not spoken for 60 days.
Shouldn't matter that much anymore. If you got nobody, you got to go make some.
But I can't trust you. It's been 60 days of you not talking to me.
But they're both alone. They have nobody else. They have no choice but to trust each other.
No, because she has relationships with Helena and Kevin.
Yeah.
She has a fractured relationship with Josh. She has no relationship with JC Lynn.
So we see this really interesting, conversation. They're all out in the kitchen, in the living room, where Betty has. You could probably tell the story better.
So they're in the kitchen, and first off, I love when Kevin said to Betty, "All right, can I talk to anyone I want this week?" Because last week Marty got mad at Kevin for talking to Summer, Josh, and Betty. So she's like, "Yeah, man, you can talk to anyone you want, and you could even talk to Joshua." Which, like, I don't know why he's so mad.
Show me Joshua's face. And what does he do?
He gets up and he leaves. I don't even want to be in the room with Business B at this time. Bro, you put her on the block.
Doesn't want to be with Petty Betty. Doesn't want to be there.
She's so mad. Of course she's mad at you. And unfortunately for you, she just won power right after she felt like you screwed her. So what else is she supposed to do? Like, what else is...
It's always interesting to me how people react. If I would be Josh, I would be probably in a room right now, like begging on my knees, apologizing to Betty. Because that's just my personality. I would feel like so bad. So bad.
I probably would have just came clean, right?
But also but the thing is, what he said happened, right? Like, he could easily say Summer was going for you. I knew if I put you up, you were going to be safe. And what happened? I put you up. You were going to be safe. The people that were going after you, like, he had a great story. Story.
Okay, so this is what I wonder. When he told Betty he was putting her up, he said he had something to tell her after, also, when she stayed. And then she pushes a little bit more. Then he says the thing about Summer.
Yes.
Do you think he was going to cop to the crash test dummies? Because I think he was.
That was my initial thought.
Yeah, I thought that he was going to say, I need to tell you something. And then after she stayed, if she hadn't won HOH, he was going to say, I've been working with Kevin and Helena this whole time, but we've been doing everything we had to do to keep me and you and them safe. But we're down at 5. We need to start making a move or something of that nature. And that's what I would have done if I'm him. Instead of like rolling my eyes and getting mad at her, I'd be like, can I talk to you?
But does that just completely cut off Betty? Because Betty's response,
I don't think so.
But Betty's response is, "Wow, so I'm your third?"
And the answer is no, right? The answer is no. The reason I'm telling you this is because as I made that deal with them a while ago, and it's just like you, I've been in your best interest, like you've been doing your best to keep me safe. I made the deal to keep us safe. I made the deal to keep us safe this whole time. And so now it's time for us to make a move. And that's why I as you saw, when you went up, it was because I made sure they kept you safe in the deal.
Except that's a great way to position it, but that would be a lie. Because for Josh, she is a third. Kevin and Helena are the real three.
I know.
So, and I don't think Josh lies or doesn't lie well.
That's why Josh is not playing Big Brother well.
Ooh.
That's why Kevin and Helena are playing a better game than he is. Because you have to lie. Because Betty, you didn't have to tell Betty until you were between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
And so now it's time to lie a little bit.
I was impressed by how stealth Josh was. How just he made his. It was almost as if the three of them, Josh, Kevin, and Helena, had a discussion about if there's a triple, if you win, this is what happens. If we win, like it's almost as if there was a plan and he was just getting the plan in order. This is step one. This is step two. This is step three. Like it just felt so perfect. I love it. So we ultimately see Wendy's time, and I just have to say, maybe you've noticed this, but when they look at the tablet, what do you see, Kevin, on that tablet? What's the first image? What food? Is on that tablet?
I want to shout out to the product placement because every single time in someone HOH room, they say, "Oh, the Wendy's. We got to look at the Wendy's," because you obviously know that they're going to get Wendy's, so they make sure they say Wendy's name first, and then when it's time to eat the Wendy's, you pull it up, and it's a giant picture of a spicy chicken sandwich. And they say, "You know what? I'm thinking right now. Give me that spicy chicken." And once again, I'm very upset with the fact that you guys don't seem to eat beef in Canada.
I ate beef today. I had bulgogi, Korean beef. So Betty decides to take Wendy's, and the rationale that she gives in her diary room is, you know what? This crazy stuff just happened. I need to see just how close Kevin is with Josh. And I love this. I love that she's actually putting the strategic spin on this. We see her wheels moving. Her wheels have been moving a long time throughout this game, but we're finally seeing it in action now that she has power. She goes to pick up the Wendy's. Tashawn is there, winner of the previous season. And Tashawn's advice, great advice. Keep building your resume and think about who you want to bring to the final two. Think about who you want to sit beside. Great advice. So it was really interesting because Betty clearly just sort of asks, have you guys been working together? Are you working with Josh? She says it. And Kevin's reaction was very surprising to me because his reaction was,
yes,
I'm close with Josh. And I've been working with Josh. Good move or bad move? Because I'm not sure.
Fantastic move. And let me tell you why. So he has gotten to the point where he knows that Helena can't go on the block, right? He doesn't obviously want to go on the block. There only leaves two other options in JC Lynn and Josh. So as they said before, Helena and Kevin don't actually have Josh in their in-game plans. They both feel like Josh will beat them. So when Betty's like, just out of curiosity, I know you're close to him. Are you working with him? Obviously, they're working together, not because of like how things played out, but because of their closeness in the house that everyone knows about. So he's like, yeah, we've been working together. But and he like comes right behind it. But if you're willing to take a shot, I support it. I'm ready to make this move because he beats all of us. There's no one in this group he doesn't beat. So if it's time to take out Josh, it is time to take out Josh.
So the only fear I had with this, which is why I wasn't as certain, and your rationale makes perfect sense. What if Betty would go back to Josh and basically tell him, Kevin said it's time to get you out? Like that would have been the fear I had if I was Kevin.
The reason I don't have that fear from Kevin is because Petty Betty's in charge. And Petty Betty is mad at Josh because Josh put you up.
But as you said, But as
Me
you
and
said,
Helena
Petty,
saved you.
but hold on. But Petty Betty, she's going to be in his wedding. Or no, he's going to be in her wedding.
But that was before, though, right?
No, but
and
she
then he
obviously
puts her up.
loves the man.
But he then puts her up and puts her at risk. And now at this moment, because we're talking about Wendy's. Wendy's happens, Friday, right? So it happens shortly after the night before and everything that happened, the craziness. She's very upset with him. And Kevin and Helena saved her.
Yeah.
They say, we saved you. Yeah. And have we been working with Josh? Yes, we have, or I have at least. But now he's dangerous.
Well, I have to say that's a really interesting thing because he doesn't actually say me and Helena. He leaves Helena completely and totally out of it. He doesn't say her word once in that conversation. It's all about let's put it on Josh. And number two, JC Lynn. We have all underestimated JC Lynn. She won safety in a double. She won safety in a triple. She is the strategist. She was the mind behind JC Lynn and Gino. So here you go. They're having a great sandwich. They're a little spicy chicken everywhere. And he's throwing Josh under the bus. He's throwing JC Lynn on anybody, just not me and Helena. Doesn't even say that out loud, but everybody sucks, just not me and Helena.
See how good that was? It's remember, we saved you. Yes, JC Lynn voted to save you too, but JC Lynn has never had your back. She's never looked out for you. Josh used to look out for you, and then he put you at risk. Yes. Think about these things. These things are what happened. So, yeah, we were working together, but that could change.
Now, the end of this episode, another cliffhanger. By the way, I love these cliffhangers. I hate how BBUS and BB Can used to do this as well. If it's a Sunday, we need to put the POV.
Has to be tight. Has to be tight.
I like the lack so much stuff. I want more Lucy. The Lucier, the better. Don't pack it in as it's supposed to. I don't need that. You got 3 episodes, 3 hours a week. Use all 3 hours the best way it makes sense. Yeah. And at the very end, Betty says in her diary room, wow, Kevin is really intelligent.
Wait. Before Betty's diary room, Kevin says, I think I got Betty to do exactly what I want. Look at me doing the villain thing. I got her tricked. And then Betty says,
Kevin is very well intelligent. He's very well insulated. And I can't trust him. Business B is not dumb. So I don't know what she's going to do. But Kevin is about to tell us. So if anybody's listening on the live, on the podcast, watching it on YouTube, turn this off. But make sure you come back to see us on Friday night, 8 p.m., where we're going to talk about the aftermath of these conversations, who Betty puts up, who wins the POV, and ultimately who goes home. So this is your final warning. Leave if you don't want to hear spoilers. Kevin, who did she put up?
So we leave this conversation with her talking to Kevin. Then we go into the nominations, and the people that are nominated are, in fact, JC Lynn and Josh. So she does go through with it. She puts up Josh because Josh put her up, and she wants, in this moment, Josh is her target, actually. She wants Josh gone. She doesn't want JC Lynn gone. She wants Josh gone.
What was Josh's reaction?
Josh was not happy about it. He thought he could repair this relationship. But one thing that Josh is really strong at is being able to put his emotions to the side to a degree and then try to have intelligent conversations. So in this moment, at the time of the nominations, Betty wants Josh gone. Point blank, period. Easy, simple. So we get the rest of the Friday. As Friday continues to go on, Josh insists on having a conversation with Betty. In his conversation with Betty, he actually comes clean about everything. Crash Test Dummies, all the things. Betty then surmises correctly that Kevin's been running this game the whole time and that Kevin is the most dangerous player in the game. And she clues Josh into this. But at the same time, she is starting to get over her feelings about wanting Josh out, and she has now switched to wanting JC Lynn out. The next day, we have a veto competition. And
who won?
lo and behold,
Who won when
Helena.
she needed it most?
Helena won the HOH the POV competition. So with Helena's POV win, obviously she's not going to use it, right? Because then that will put Kevin on the block, and that's not something she wants.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin and Helena have a conversation with Betty, and they discuss how, once again, together, they discuss how they have been working with Josh, but Josh is the most dangerous player in this game because everyone likes him. Betty is now actually playing the game at this point.
Yeah.
And she tried to convince Helena to do a final two deal with her. And Helena's like, oh, I'm not really trying to make any final twos with anybody. And Betty's like, oh, yeah, okay, I got you. Because now Betty's playing, but Helena has been playing this game for weeks.
But can I ask, like why do they have to go do this? Like Helena's not going to use the POV. JC Lynn and Josh are on the block. Betty's HOH. Like they just decide who goes home. Like how does this help?
For who? Kevin and Helena?
How does this help for Kevin and
Helena?
Well,
so from the
trying to make sure for next week.
Let me tell you how this helps. How this helps. Since Friday, Kevin and Helena have been going back and forth every single day about who's going home. Helena wants JC Lynn to stay and for Josh to go. Kevin wants Josh to stay and for JC Lynn to go.
Wow.
They've been going back and forth, and they said Saturday after Helena won, they had just an open brass talk conversation. Kevin says to Helena, Josh staying is better for my game. JC Lynn staying is better for your game. That's just the truth. That's just the truth of the matter. And as they continue to talk that day, Helena convinces Kevin a little bit more that it's better for Josh to go and for JC Lynn to stay. Come Monday, after Helena does not use the veto, Kevin and Helena talk again, and they think it's better for Josh to stay and for JC Lynn to go. I'm telling you, they're going back and forth because they're the ones that are going to decide. It's the two of them that are going to make the decision. And Kevin says constantly, we're going to decide together. We're not going to leave this to Betty. So me and you will come to the decision, but we're not going to leave it up to Betty. Betty's not going to choose for us.
Yeah.
And so now, one thing that I loved is that earlier today, Kevin told JC Lynn that they're going to make it a tie. So that way Betty has to choose. When in reality, Kevin is just telling that because he's toying with JC Lynn.
So why is JC Lynn better for Helena? Because we saw that fight. We saw basically JC Lynn say, it's not you, Kevin. It's always been Helena. Helena's the evil one.
Yes. Because JC Lynn's also onto the fact that Kevin has been pretty much controlling the game. The jig is up. Kevin, they're all aware about Kevin's prowess. But Kevin has been touting the last few days that he does not have the votes. And him and Helena went through the votes. And from what it sounds like, they may not have the votes unless they sit against each other. If they sit against JC Lynn, they think they may have the votes. They don't think they have the votes against Josh, which is why they have thought about keeping JC Lynn, because they think that if they were to go and sit against JC Lynn would have Gino's vote, maybe Marty's vote. That's kind of it. So the rest, they think, would vote for one of them.
Does Helena believe that if she sits beside Kevin, she could win? Because I don't think she can.
So I haven't heard Helena have a conversation. Who is she going to have that conversation with, though, right? That's the question.
Well, maybe Betty, maybe JC Lynn. I actually think it's to me, Helena is really the interesting one, because for Helena's game, it might be time to get rid of Kevin next. And so for Helena, it might make a lot of sense to hope for Almighty that JC Lynn wins and puts up maybe Betty and Kevin or something like that. Or Josh, maybe. I don't know. Like for Helena, it's time for Kevin to go, I think.
I think so too. And that's why Helena needs JC Lynn to stick around, because JC Lynn can really win comps too. And I think JC Lynn would much rather go against Helena than Kevin, Betty, or Josh. Everyone feels like Josh needs to go soon. And that's why they're trying to pull in Betty, so that way the three of them could be focused on Josh next week.
So as of the second, Kevin, we don't know who's going home.
Correct. As of this present moment, Josh is staying. Of this present moment. But that could change. It could change come Thursday because they're going back and forth. They're making it like Kevin told JC Lynn today, right before I got on here, probably about an hour or two before, that he told JC Lynn that he was voting her out. She then made another plea after she left the room. Kevin said, she makes a very good point. She makes a very good point. I might need to rethink this.
I have to say, so I love that everybody's finally playing, although people were playing a long time ago.
This whole time, yeah.
I love watching people go and fight. I like that JC Lynn fights. Like I love it all. I love it. This was a great episode.
Yes.
It's been an awesome few weeks, and I hope the next few weeks are going to be just as awesome. Do we know when the finale is?
I do not. I assume it's in 2 weeks.
Oh, I don't know. They might speed it up, but we'll let you know next time when the finale is. But I can't wait. It's been quite the week. Kevin, do you have anything to plug?
Check out the DCOM After Dark podcast, of course. We have Horse Sense up there. Check that out. Andrew Lawrence, Joey Lawrence, myself, Lindsay, and my friend Jessica Bauer, J Bow. We all talk about that. Also, join us tomorrow night, as opposed to Thursday. Me, Robbie, and maybe a special guest will be recapping the Survivor 42 episode half hour after the show airs. So join us tomorrow at 9:30 Eastern.
2 people are going home too.
2 people are going home. We will be talking about it. So join us for that right here on For the Fans. Also check out the podcast anywhere you can find podcasts. It's the same episode that we just did, but check it out.
Check it out. Make sure you follow us Instagram and Twitter at For the Fans E. And come back here next Friday, or this Friday, I should say, 8 p.m., where we're going to talk about the aftermath of all of this craziness. We're hopefully going to see some of those scenes of Kevin and Helena going back and forth. Who should we say? Who should we keep? I don't know. The likelihood of them two staying together until the end is almost impossible from what I think. But I won't put it past them because they've been doing magical stuff this entire game. Kevin, thanks for joining tonight. It was so much fun. And from outside the For the Fans home, I'm Sheldon for Kevin. See you on Friday.